2 cents whether we're going to have Jeff come in and have a look at charts technically and see what he's thinking. He was, like a few of us, away last week. Good to have him back this week. Jeff, are you with us?
G'day, PB, and hello, everyone. Yes, I am here and looking forward to the week ahead, I must say. Having had a very, very busy week in Australia, the mainland, over the past 10 days or so. Let's have a look at pound US dollar. It is the first one on my watch list. Interestingly, I normally at this time have viewed some pairs that have nice reversal bars and potentially inside bars. That's not the case this week. So I've turned my attention to things that I believe are at the top or the bottom of a range, and we can take advantage of those particular scenarios. Now, pound US dollar, as we all know, the number came out on Friday. Well, a succession of numbers came out on Friday that forced the US dollar down and therefore pound US dollar up. I'm interested in this because it's pretty much at the top of my range here. And if you have a look at these levels across here around about the 140 mark, it doesn't like it above there in the recent past. However, the biggest picture here is telling me that we've got a massive double bottom and we are going to go over time higher. And I believe that some stage we'll go up to these areas. I don't reckon that's going to be now, however, but it is at what we all call an inflection point. Now, that inflection point for me is this horizontal level. I believe that we are going to see a retracement this week on pound US dollar. And the daily chart is the reason I believe that, because we are at the top of this range that we have been in since March of 2021, which is what, 3 months ago? 2 months ago. Where are we? May. So this is a 2-month-old range, and I'm expecting, well, one of two things is going to happen here. As I said, we're at an inflection point. We're either going to go and test these highs, or we're going to come back into this range and go back towards the pivots. And I'm happy either way. I don't really care, but my bias is to the downside. And early in the week, I'll be looking for something of a lower high in here. If we break out to the top side, I'll be looking for it to come back inside. So either way, I'll be happy with that. Earliest opportunities, of course, are going to come on a smaller time frame. So if we do come off this level here and put in a lower high, maybe at this level, then I would look to trade it short. Second chart I'm looking at is Kiwi Yen. Now, Kiwi Yen is now in its 7th month of bullish activity. And it started, of course, with this big reversal bar sitting here, or low test bar, whatever you want to call it. We had a retracement off the first move. We've had absolutely no retracement off the second phase of this move up. And for that reason, I believe we are at the top of, again, a range on the smaller time frames. You can see it's been historically a level that price reacts off, and the weekly chart's going to tell me that. There they are, the tops there that we haven't been able to pierce through. And I don't believe that now is got any reason for that to be the time. So it may push out to the top side. So give us one more push and maybe come back inside that area there. And that's what I'll be looking for early in the week. If we can push through these highs, I'll be looking for it to go in the opposite direction. Obviously, if it takes off, it takes off, but that won't be my bias. I'll be looking for this to break to the top side, come back underneath, give us a lower high, and then we can look to trade it short. Well, how far is the question? And I really haven't got a strong opinion on that, but it looks like that level there may be in play. So maybe 300 pips. There is that move if it does come. It may be even a little bit further than that. You might even be looking for this down here, which is probably the most or the more obvious level. So that's got a fair way to pull back, and that would be a pretty decent trade if we can get into it. So Kiwi Yen, looking to trade that short. Kiwi CAD, this is the monthly chart once again, and you can see there is a bigger range in here. And maybe we are headed to the bottom of that again, which probably pulls up exactly where I've got the smaller range. There's a clear indicator that there's a false break of this resistance trend line here. And if that's the case, then we're probably just going to go straight to the bottom. I'm not really of that opinion because, well, I'm of that opinion, but I don't see that I can trade that because we are at a support level. You can see that there's been support through here in the past. So I'd like to see a rally, put in a second lower high. There's a lower high based off the bounce off the top. There's your first lower high. I'll be looking for a second lower high in this vicinity, maybe at the monthly pivot area. And then I can look to trade it short, taking profit before we get to that support trade line. So that would be probably where I'll be looking. Daily charts showing that we've gone into range here, but interestingly, couldn't get above the weekly pivot last week, certainly couldn't get above the monthly pivot, which is as yet untested. So that's exactly where I would like price to go, up to the monthly pivot, and give us a look at breaking through that trade line that goes down through the most recent lows. The final one, very, very similar to Kiwi yen, of course. This has been on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, again, 7 months or 7th month, if you like, of bull market. And really in the middle of nowhere in terms of trend lines, but there is a horizontal level through here. I don't think it's the best horizontal level that I've ever seen, but it has gone in range here, and we're testing the top of that range. Well, we've been through the top of that range rather, and we're testing the most recent high, which goes back to where February somewhere, I think, maybe even beyond that. I again think this is an inflection point, not necessarily going south, but I would be biased in that direction until we break that high. Again, there may be a breakout of that high, and if we pull back underneath that, I'll be looking to trade it short. Maybe back towards, this trend line area, which will probably have a confluence with the bottom of this range or something in that vicinity. I'll be looking for this to show me which way it wants to go. Of course, it can break out. There's no question there. But at the top right now, I'll be looking for a retracement at the least. And if that comes as a lower high, then that's probably the best way to look at it. Then I'll probably be looking for it to bounce later on off the bottom of this range, or if you like, the trade line that will go through here as well. But for now, I am a little bit bearish Aussie yen. And look, there's two ways to look at Aussie yen, and I've done exactly that. But the upside seems to be limited at the moment. We've had this big phase 1. We've had this big phase 2. I'm definitely looking for a pullback here at the moment. And if that comes off the top here right now, as I've just described it, then happy days. We should look to trade that this week short. So that, in essence, Paul, is my 2 cents worth.
Cheers, Jeff. Thank you very much for that. Great way to finish up the show today. Again, got to say, I'm looking forward to this week ahead. A lot of different views on this market, lots of potential. We've had this, long anticipated week where we may see the start to the like really a historical turn in the US markets where the COVID pandemic we've rallied all the way through it, and all of a sudden, do we get this big pullback that people have been expecting? Does Gordon get to pick it particularly accurately? How will gold react to that? How will Bitcoin react to that? How will different currencies react to that? Could be a fascinating week in store. One thing we could have is plenty of opportunities to make some money as that unfolds. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you to the team. It's been great to have your company today. Thank you, Alexis, for the fundamentals. Ash for the data. Ainsley for gold and oil. Shukri for crypto. Thank you for Lloyd for currency strength, and thank you guys all for joining us. We'll see you guys back here next Sunday, same time, same channel. We'll be doing the same thing, and on tomorrow morning we'll be cutting up, tonight we'll be cutting up the sessions into smaller sessions so you can pick them up on YouTube should you wish to, or Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your company. See you next week. Team, I'll see you in the